anybody can lose at any given time.
You're watching Sports DD Live. Let's go to the Afcon updates right now. We've got 3 days to the new year for 2024 to come into place. And we have about 16 days to the African Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast. We have about 24 coaches. We'll take a deep look at the coaches that we star in this African Cup of Nations. Yes, we don't think any of these coaches will be sacked because we have just 16 days to go. So any federation that sacks any coach will be at their own peril. So we take a very deep look at the coaches going into Afcon for 2024. Now, out of the 24 coaches, we've got only 11 African home-based coaches, and we have about 13 foreigners going to Afcon proper. And now, out of the 24 coaches, we have 3 coaches that have won the African Cup of Nations going into Ivory Coast from the 13th of January. And top of that league, of that series, is Aliou Cissé of Senegal. He's still the Senegalese coach, and he's going to the African Cup of Nations with that great history behind him. Watch out for Senegal. Their coach have won the African Nations Cup in 2019 with the Taranga Lions of Senegal. Now, let's take a look at these coaches very quickly. And of course, we have Hugo Broos. Hugo Broos have won it with South Cameroon in 2017, but he's going to Afcon with South Africa. So a great one to look at en route to Afcon. The coaches that have won the African Nations Cup and the countries they are right now, and of course the players to look out for. Now, Algeria coach Jamil Balmadi has also won the African Cup of Nations in the past. He's going into Afcon also. So we look out for him proper with Algeria. He's still coaching the Algeria national team. So we watch out to see what happens in Afcon proper. Yeah, so these are the coaches that have won the African Cup of Nations. Cissé on the screen with Senegal, going with that history behind him. Hugo Broos with South Africa, going with that history behind him. He won it for Cameroon though, going with that history behind him. What should we expect from these coaches with their coaches?
These very 3 coaches you just mentioned, I would very persons I want to see as the 4 finalists, because they are still coming back with the same.
South Africa, Senegal, Algeria,
outside the South African coach who left Cameroon. So he's going into a new terrain. He's
going with South Africa.
Yes, into a new terrain. So he might have some tinkering problem in blending the team. If it was the Cameroon that he had the other time to win, it would be easy. It's just like you're already living in this house. You're used to the room areas. You know where to put whatever. So it is not going to be like every other person who will just come with the fresh people. You keep telling them one thing or the other. But in the case of this very Aliou Cissé, it's the same big crop of players. It's just maybe 1 or 2 persons he will remove and infuse. And the person would say, look at what these people need to do and follow suit. It's simple. So I see the 3 of them getting into the final 4. South African on might be a little problematic.
They're the same group with us.
Yeah, I believe about being the same group with us. It might be a little problematic because he's now with a new crop of players. But Algeria and the Senegal, I don't think
a team to watch out for.
Be careful of these 2 teams.
Okay, as you're watching the analysis live from the show, we'll be taking your phone calls very soon. So make sure you get your phones ready to reach us out on the show this hour. Now, we have Portugal. Among the foreign coaches, we have Portugal with 3 coaches that will be going to the Nations Cup. First on the list is Jose Peseiro of Nigeria. He's a Portuguese going into the African Nations Cup with Nigeria. And of course, we have Pedro Goncalves of Angola. He's also a Portuguese going into the Nations Cup. And we have Rui Costa of Egypt going into the Nations Cup with the Pharaohs of Egypt in that order. Now, Belgium has 2 coaches going into the Nations Cup. We've got Sam Sanford of Gambia, and of course, we told you that Hugo Broos with South Africa going into the Nations Cup. However, he's from Belgium. Now, the French have 4 good coaches going into the Nations Cup, and the French command the highest number of foreigners that will be going into the African Nations Cup with 4 good coaches. We have Israel with Alvan Grant. He's going into the Nations Cup with Zambia. And then we have Chris Huston going into the Nations Cup with Ghana. He's from the Republic of Ireland. So these are the coaches you should be looking out for. For Ivory Coast, their coach is Jane Lewis, going to the Nations Cup with the host, the Ivorians, but he's a French coach, and so we watch out for him with those things that he will be bringing. Mauritania also has a French coach. We have DR Congo, and of course we have Burkina Faso having French coaches on their sidelines.
Yeah, good one. The French coaches make more impact for the Irish coach. Ireland has never